Okay, for number 6, it's a tough question. Looking at it, you say, how am I going to start that? I would start with a u substitution, and I'm going to try to simplify the integram by doing it. And so I'm going to write over here u equals, and the root of 1 plus 1 over x. I'm not going to differentiate that as it stands, by the way. It's too difficult. I'm going to square both sides. You get u squared is 1 plus 1 over x. And then I'm going to say u squared minus 1 equals 1 over x. And then I could probably say x is equal to 1 over u squared minus 1. All right? So I'm going to go write the integral down, and the integral is this thing over here, which is 1 plus 1 over x dx. This is going to equal, in the land of u's, well, it's going to be u. And now I got to get the dx, by the way. So dx, this is going to be u squared minus 1 to the minus 1. So you get negative, and then you get u squared minus 1 squared, and then you can get 2u. I'll write that down now. So I'm going to write down times minus 2u, and it's going to be u squared minus 1 squared du. All right? Okay, so I got trouble right now. I'm not going to say it got better. It got something I recognize a little bit easier to recognize. It looks like a partial fraction problem. But let me factor out the minus 2. And then what do you get there? You get u squared. I'm going to be making some erasures in a moment. U squared minus 1 factors to u plus 1, u minus 1. So it's going to be u plus 1 squared u minus 1 and du. All right, let me get my eraser out. I'm going to start to erase this business over here. Let's see. I want to make sure you know I use this over here. And I got this stuff written down, the stuff that we need. All right, we need that stuff. Now looking at it, I'm going to say that I'm going to do partial fractions now. So u squared over u squared minus 1 squared is going to be a over u plus 1 plus b over u plus 1 squared plus c over u minus 1 plus d over u minus 1 squared. I'm going to clear the fraction. You get u squared a u plus 1 u minus 1 squared plus b u minus 1 squared plus c. Let's see, u plus 1 squared u minus 1 plus d u plus 1 squared. I got to figure out the a, b, c, and d, and I'll do that by selecting easy numbers. So I'm going to select u equals 1, and you get 1 on the left side. That's pretty simple. On the right side, the first 3 terms disappear, and the last term, if it's 1, you get 1 plus 1 is 2, so you're going to get 4d. So d is a quarter. Let me get my eraser out. I'm going to put that down now. Okay. I'm going to take another value that I think is easy to deal with, minus 1. You get 1. Let's see. Every term disappears except for one with the b in it, and you're going to get 4b. All right, make sure that's true. Minus 1 is minus 2. Yeah, 4b. So what's b? It's 1 quarter. Get my eraser out. No, I'll do hickey over here and get rid of that. Put the 1 quarter down. It's a lot of work, isn't it? And I'm going to keep moving forward. I need a little, board space over here. I'm going to, maybe I'll just keep going. I'm going to pick u to be 0 now. You're going to get 0. And let's see what you get there. If I pick u to be 0, you're going to get a. And then you're going to get b. But b is a quarter, right? And then you're going to get a c. Let me make sure I'm doing this right too. Be really careful. If I chose 0, yeah, B, I get a quarter. Let's see, if I chose 0 for the C, what do I get? I get minus C, actually. Get my eraser out. Minus C. And then if I chose 0, I get the D, which is a quarter. And again, I realize for a lot of students it looks terrible, but it's not that bad. A quarter is a half. So you're going to get, let's write this down, 0 equals A minus C plus 1/2. And then I'm going to write down, minus 1/2 equals A minus C. All right? I still don't know what A and C are, so I got to keep going. And what I'm going to do is pick another value. I picked 1, minus 1, 0. I guess the next number I'd choose is probably 2. And this is a lot of work, I realize that. What do you get? 4. By the way, you wonder what I'm doing? I'm doing it over here. Equals, well, you get 3A. I'll put that down. I got to check myself. I'm taking 2, right? 2 squared is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. And 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So 3A. And 2 would give me what there? It would just give me a B. What's B? B is a quarter. Let me check that. Yeah, it's a quarter. And then C, and I chose 2, right? Let's see, 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So you get 9C. And again, I chose 2. You're going to get 9D now. What's that going to be? 9 quarters. All right, let's keep going. And what do you get over here? You get 4, 3A, and 9C. 1 quarter, 9 quarters, 10 quarters. 10 quarters is 5 halves. I'm going to subtract 5 halves from both sides, and that's going to be 3 halves. All right, I'm looking at 2 equations and 2 unknowns. And I think I can figure out A and C now. So let me write this down for you. And boy, it's a long road, isn't it? I'm going to write down minus 1 equals 2A minus 2, whoops, sorry about that, minus 2C. Got that from there. Let me do this one over here. You're going to get 3 equals 6A, and then it's going to be 18C. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 3 and do an addition if I do that. Well, what do you get there? Let's take a look. I'm sorry, by minus 3. Sorry about that. You're going to get 3 plus 3, which is 6. The A's will disappear. You're going to get 6 and 18, which is 24C. What's C going to be? 1 quarter. Let me get my eraser out and put that down now. I got to get A. How am I going to do that? I'm going to select one of the equations to do that. And I'm going to select this one over here because it looks like the easiest one to deal with. What do you get? Minus 1/2 equals A minus 1 quarter. All right? So let's see if we can do that. And let's see what you get there. Let's see. This is minus 2 quarters plus 1 quarter is equal to A. So A is going to be equal to minus 1 quarter. Let's go back up here. I'm going to put that down now. Oops, sorry about that. All right, let's go back up here. And what I'm going to do is I got this thing into partial fractions now. I'm going to be factoring out actually minus 1/4. And what would you get? You know, minus 2 times minus 1/4 is 1/2. And then you get this, you know, form-termed expression. And again, I factored out minus 1/4. So I get 1 over u plus 1 minus 1 over u plus 1 squared minus 1 over u minus 1 plus, minus 1 over u minus 1 squared du. Each of those individually is pretty easy to integrate, but I want to just talk about, you know, getting milestones in the problem. And the milestone is really, this was tough to get to, and I got there. I got the 1/2, I got this over here, I got this over here, I got this over here, this over here. So I'm going to say that's a good milestone to get to. Are these easy to integrate? They're really easy to integrate, all right? So for example, the first one integrates nicely. The second one integrates nicely. Let me show I got what I'm saying I'm getting. And minus u plus 1. Yeah, this one integrates nicely. I want to point out, a lot of students still struggle with certain integrations. And certainly looking at these things over here, you know, u plus 1 squared du, you should be able to integrate. It's a simple integration problem. It's simply just going to be, you know, you're going to get the integration. It's a pretty simple one. Of course, I should put a minus sign in front of it. It's going to be a simple integration, and you should be able to get this over here. All right? And then what do? Well, you got to go back to the land of x's. And how do you do that? Well, you have it written down somewhere. So take the u, plug this back in over there. And that's all I did over here. All right? Now, granted, at first I looked at it and said, you know what? I was able to do that. I was able to get an answer on it. And then I said to myself, there might be a better way of doing it. Right? There might be a better way of doing it. And I want to just briefly go through that with you. Now, let me erase this business over here. We're done with this part over here. Again, the toughest thing for me to do in the problem over here was to get to the place where I had those nice partial fractions. Let me outline that again for you. Getting to this over here. That took a lot of work. Once I got there, though, the integration sailed forward. Let me get my erase right again. Let's talk about an alternative method over here. An alternative method is to make a substitution. All right, let me go through that with you. We're over here. I'm going to write down the integrand again, 1 plus 1 over x, and write this down as, you know, x plus 1 over x, the root of it, and write this down as the root of x plus 1 over root x, which probably is a better way of going about doing the problem, all right? Probably, all right? And then what I did, I made a u substitution, root of x. I'd square both sides. You get u squared is equal to x. You know, the du would be 2u du equals dx, and you make your substitution now. Let's go through that. And again, this integrand looks like this now. And let's write it down. And what do you get? Well, if I'm making a substitution, I'm looking at this first root, and what's that going to be? Well, the x is really just u squared. Right, that's not so bad. I still got that root x in the bottom, right? What's that going to be? Let's see, that's going to be u. All right, the root x in the bottom is still just a u. And what's the dx equal to? Well, it's 2u du. Well, you know what? We got something that's pretty simple. And what do we get over here? This thing is going to simplify to just this over here. I got to admit, that's a much easier integration to deal with. And what I do now is I do trig substitution. Let me go through that with you. I would say u equals the tangent of theta. Du is going to be secant squared theta d theta. Let's keep going through this thing. I got two substitutions going on over here now. What do you get there? Well, it's going to be tangent squared theta plus 1 times secant squared d theta. Let's keep moving along in there. What do you get there? Well, let's see, tangent squared theta plus 1 is secant squared theta. And what I have to do there is take the square root of it. That's going to be secant, so I get secant cubed. Now, if you remember from a prior worksheet, we actually did this integration before. I'm not expecting you to memorize it, but certainly you could look that up. And I would recommend it, saying, oh yeah, I've seen this one before. Let me just go back and do that. And what would you do? You look this up, and we actually did it before. We actually did it. You know what, maybe I forgot somebody over here. And I did, I just noticed it. I forgot the 2. Right, I forgot the 2. Sorry about that. So anyway, you look it up, plug it in, and go through your work on it. Now there are troubles over here, and I want to point out the troubles are, going backwards in the problem. And I want to emphasize that to you. If u is tan theta, I'm going to say, I got to do my little diagram here, right? This is theta. This would be u. That's 1. What's over here? U squared plus 1, the root of it. All right, that's what theta is. All right. So let's see if I did that right. The tangent theta is u over 1. Yeah, did okay. Now someone says, I wonder what the u is. And the u going back over here is root x, right? So you could write that down. And what are you going to get? Well, this will be root x. U is root x, by the way. 1. This is still theta, by the way. And what do you get over there? The square root of x plus 1. All right? Again, u is equal to the root of x. I'm just going backwards in my substitutions over here. And then what do you got to do? Each one of those things, you have to pop it in there. For example, the secant of theta is going to be just the square root of x plus 1. The tan of theta, looking at it, is just the root of x. So forth and so on. You just pop those things in there, and you should get the same answer that we got before. Thank you.